This is the Private Officer Beat Radio with Rick McCann at the microphone. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Private Officer Beat Radio, a production of Blue Ram Media Group, LLC, and Private Officer International. Great to have you here the day after Memorial Day, the unofficial start to summer, actually, although summer solace is a few more weeks away, June 21st, I believe. We are broadcasting live one day later than normal because, of course, yesterday was a holiday, and we hope that you and yours had a wonderful time, as I did, and spent some time along the beach, the Gulf Coast, had some great food, potato salad season, pasta salad, some burgers on the grill, some chicken on the grill, yummy. Hope that you really had some time to sit back and relax and catch up with your family and your friends. Today we got a big radio show. We're going to be talking about many different things. Of course, we have a ton of breaking news coming out of all areas of the country and the world. We have a new 3-part series that we're starting today about law enforcement and security, what they are doing to keep in step with the times. And we'll be talking about the Industrial Revolution. You ask, what in the world does that have to do with private security or law enforcement? Well, you're about to find out. We're also going to be talking today about The Good We Do, a segment that we started a few months back, and we have some new professional security officers and law enforcement officers that we're going to be highlighting today. And we have some upcoming events and training opportunities for you and so much more. Now, if you did not get a chance to nominate someone for the 2023 Officer Award Program, send us an email at helpdesk@privateofficer.com. It's not too late. That'll be announced next week, actually, so you can still nominate someone. And remember, it doesn't have to be a private security officer. It could be a law enforcement officer, a teacher, someone else who has done something above and beyond. We have had, over the last maybe 6 or 8 months, we've had a lot of people interested in starting their own business. So we're going to be talking about that too in today's program. And in order for me to keep up with all of the different topics that we're discussing every radio program, I actually have to make myself a few notes. So I want to keep on track. It's very easy to get off track when you have a radio program, a TV program, but we try to stay on track. We have a limited amount of time each program to talk, so I want to make sure that I hit the key points and the high points and get all the information out. Remember, you can follow us on social media, Facebook.com/Private Officer International, Twitter.com/Private Officer, and of course, you can read our news anytime, day or night, at privateofficerbreakingnews.blogspot.com. I spoke a few weeks ago about the Times Magazine news article that I was involved in. This was at least a 6-month project with this reporter, and I understand that some of the items that was highlighted wasn't so complimentary, but it was pretty factual. There's a lot of problems in this industry, this business, as there are with any business. But I think that she did highlight some of the good as well. And the funny thing is that one of the largest actually, security companies reached out to us shortly after the News Magazine article. And we'll be telling you about that in the upcoming weeks. If you are a business owner, if you have a business on the side and you want to get your word out, you want to have people, of course, do business with you, whether it's a product, a service, or something else, contact us at helpdesk@privateofficer.com because we've got a all-inclusive marketing plan for you. We'll advertise your business, your service, your goods on our websites, on our social media, throughout our radio shows, and on our upcoming online TV show and a current digital magazine. You're going to have like multiple layers of marketing, all for one inclusive price. Contact us today, helpdesk@privateofficer.com. We are going to take a quick break, but we have a lot more to say, obviously, and we hope that you're letting your friends and your coworkers know about the radio show because there is so much that we share every day. Make sure that you sign up for our newsletters, your coworkers sign up for our newsletters at privateofficer.org. And, of course, please become a member and support the cause. Without that support, we're not here. We'll be right back on the Private Officer Beat Radio, the voice of the frontline protector.
You told me not to talk to strangers. You told me not to cross the street without looking both ways.
You told me not to touch the stove. You told me not to do drugs. You told me not to drink and drive.
You gave me so many messages about how to stay safe. Why didn't you keep me safe by properly storing your gun?
When we're responding to emergency runs, we need everybody's help to get there as fast as we can. So when you see the lights, move to the right.
So you think you can beat a train? Well, think again. Even at low speeds, trains can cause serious injuries or death. You must slow down and yield when you approach all railroad crossings. If the train is approaching, always stop behind the solid white line or at least 15 feet from the crossing. Never stop on the track. It's the law, and it will save your life. Proceed only when the train has cleared the area and no other trains are approaching. Please be safe at all railroad crossings. And remember, never stop on the track.
This past Memorial Day, just this weekend, really showed one more time how violent our communities are and how dangerous it is to be putting unarmed security officers out there. I would say most, maybe not all, but the majority of accounts these days need armed security officers that are professionally trained, that meet more than just a minimal standard, but have a higher standard. This past weekend, as with really the last at least 5 to 7 years, we have seen every single day security officers either shot, violently attacked and assaulted, or security officers trying to defend themselves by any means possible. A security officer was arrested in Metro Atlanta after stabbing a man. This during a confrontation. The man assaulted the security officer. Now, the security officer was not armed per se. He was an unarmed security officer, but he did have a pocket knife, and to defend himself, he had no choice, he said, but to use his pocket knife. He was arrested because it was excessive force. Another security officer, this one in Anchorage, Alaska, of all places, got into a confrontation with a man who he told to leave the property numerous times. He was wearing body camera, which was great for him. But the man began throwing rocks once he got outside and off the property, and then he came back onto the property. He was throwing small rocks. Now, the news item was pretty specific that these were not boulders, they weren't bricks, but they were small rocks. One did hit the security officer in the face and caused a bruise on his lip, a little lip bleeding. According to the police report, the man threw a number of rocks. The security officer pulled his weapon, but when that security officer was hit in the lip, in the mouth, with one of those rocks, and again, we don't have a picture of it, but it was described to be small rocks, he shot the man several times. That security officer has been arrested for attempted murder now, originally aggravated assault charges. He gave a statement to police. I don't know how many times I say be cautious as to what you say, because just like every cop show says, whatever you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. So it's always better to have a legal representative with you. But the security officer gave a statement saying he didn't want to use his gun, and had he had a taser, he would have used the taser. He said in his statement he could not afford it, and the company does not supply one. Therefore, he had no alternative but to use lethal force, and now he is facing some pretty serious charges. Just this past week, security officers who were involved in a fatal in-custody situation at a mall, I believe this was in Michigan. It's been about 8 years ago, and we reported on it when it happened. The man was creating a disturbance. Security was called. They pinned him down. They had to wrestle with him after he refused to leave and was involved in the confrontation. They had to pin him down. The man died. Again, at that time, it was not ruled a murder. In fact, they went to the grand jury and they didn't indict. It went to the DA's office and he didn't press charges. But now, about 8 years later, these security officers are facing criminal charges. We don't understand quite how the system is changing. Many people in this security business and law enforcement are finding out that it's not like it was 10 years ago. It's not like it was 5 years ago. DAs are out for blood. I'm telling you that every time that we see these situations, it's like they want police to suffer. Now these 4 security officers who used to work at the Northland Mall, where this incident happened, is facing felony charges in the death of this man. They've been charged with 1 count of involuntary manslaughter. A 5th security officer who was also involved has passed away since that situation. And you know what really is disheartening, not only that they were charged, but that most of these cannot afford attorneys. They're no longer employed for the security company, no longer have any financial means, if anything at all. I've known of security officers who have owned homes and have been charged incorrectly and had to put their home up for sale so that they could pay attorneys to defend themselves. Police officers sometimes do the same when they are not protected, when they are not given an attorney by the PBA, Police Benevolent Association, or the union, or the police department, or some other organization that they belong to, and they have to pay every penny to defend themselves. More and more attacks on security officers. More and more are having to first defend themselves in the field and then defend themselves in the courtroom because they're being charged, just like police. Police are being arrested every single day. And in my lifetime, and I've been around for over 6 decades. Yeah, I'm old. I don't remember a time when police were arrested in such a high frequency for everything that they do. Just recently, 3 police officers were arrested for what I think was really a good shooting, and yet they were arrested. Another recent arrest of police officers shows that these police officers were responding to a disorderly trespasser on a property. I believe this was a hotel. On New Year's Eve, they were just arrested last week. It just doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't. How do we protect ourselves? Well, there are several different types of insurance out there that you can buy to cover any shootings you're involved. But again, not every security officer can afford to pay $45 a month, although it's worth it. It's better than nothing, but maybe we need to work overtime just to pay for that insurance. I don't know. But we need to come up with a way to, A, train our personnel and ourselves better, and B, to be ready to defend our actions, because these days the police and the courts, they're not showing a whole lot of mercy. Have you seen the video coming out of Fairfax County, Virginia? We talked about this on the radio program last week during the news segment. A police officer on patrol in Fairfax County, an area that I and my companies do a lot of business. We're in and all around Virginia, Metro, D.C. Police officers on patrol. He spots a U-Haul truck that is pulling into a gas station. It's coming back stolen. I don't know if he had a license plate reader in the vehicle. There are a lot of LPRs in that area, metropolitan D.C., so it may have been that a hit came on the LPR camera system in his vehicle, or maybe he ran the tag because the vehicle was acting suspicious. But either way, the man gets out, hops out at the gas pump, and starts walking into the store. The officer pulls in behind the U-Haul and gets out and says, "Hey, I need to speak with you for a moment." Within seconds, the man grabs for the gun of the police officer, and it's an all-out battle for the officer to protect his weapon. The battle continues as the officer and the suspect now has probably gone a good 15 or even 20 feet from where they're at backwards to where the patrol car was parked behind the U-Haul. The man continues to struggle, the police officer trying to fight for his life, and all of a sudden, and I don't know how this happened, the officer's calling for assistance. The patrol vehicle driver's side door opens. They both fall into the vehicle. The vehicle somehow gets yanked into reverse. It pops across the driveway, across the street into a McDonald's, smashed into several vehicles. Shots are fired. More officers arrive. The man now has possession of the officer's gun. The officers arriving, shoot him multiple times. He falls out. They get him down to the ground. He is killed by police. The officer is shot, injured. Many people working and doing business in that area run for their lives. The video goes live thanks to Fairfax County Police Chief. He immediately begins releasing parts of the body camera and also video from businesses close by. It shows, and you could hear one person in the background saying that they just murdered this suspect, but that wasn't true. It was 100% self-defense. That officer was fighting for his life. The man got possession of the gun, et cetera, et cetera. These police officers from Fairfax County was in the fight for their life. Go to YouTube, go to the Fairfax County Police YouTube channel. They have all of the video right there if you haven't already seen it. It's been on multiple news media, cable news, published news. It's been all over the place. And here's the sad thing. Because our security personnel and some of our private police officers do not wear body cameras, we don't see those videos. We see where they're being arrested. We hear that they were attacked and used excessive force, but we don't see the video because they generally don't have body cameras. The man I told you about in Anchorage, the security officer, did have body camera, and police were able to play back that, and they determined that he used excessive force. I believe he probably did as well. You say, well, the guy was throwing rocks, and it depends on the size of the rock. We talk here, and I talk about the totality of the situation. You got to measure. The use of force has to be measured, and that includes the totality of the situation as to how much force you can use, when to use force. And unfortunately, we just don't have the training. We don't have the mindset. We don't have what it takes to understand. We just can't be so quick on the draw. Woo! When I come back today, and like I said, we got a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about the good that we do, the people who have recently been highlighted in the media for good acts, for saving lives. And, of course, we have plenty of news to talk about. And today we're going to start a brand new trilogy, a three-parter, about how police and private security are having to change, a different mindset, a different way, a different method of doing business. And that starts with technology, because of the lack of the ability to hire and have physical security and physical police. We're having to think differently, think outside the box. And yes, as I said in the beginning, we'll be talking. Oh, goodness. We'll be talking about something that, you might say, well, what does that have to do with? And that is the Industrial Revolution and how that changed the world because people were forward thinkers. And that's what we have to do today. Get out of the mindset that guards are the only way to provide security. Get out of the mindset that police are going to be on every corner, because they're not. They're going to be more reactive than proactive. And security also are going to be more proactive than reactive. See, it's a flip. Opposite. Security, proactive and less reactive. Police, more reactive and less proactive. You're listening to the voice of the Frontline Protector here on the Private Officer Beat Radio. Join us in Tinsley Park, Illinois on August 10th and 11th at the Tinsley Park Convention Center in Tinsley Park, Illinois, at the Midwest Security and Police Conference. You're not going to want to miss this. This is a free training event, expo, plenty of exhibits, lots of things to see and do. I'll be there. Several members of my team will be there. Some members of POI will be there. We're all going to be there. You're not going to want to miss it. Like I said, it's absolutely free. Go to mspce.com and register today. Again, that website address is MS, like Midwest Security, PCE.com, and register today. I think this is going to be an enjoyable event, a free conference, and like I said, it's an opportunity to meet and greet, mingle, and that's part of becoming professional, part of education, continuing education, and not only that, but just networking is a big part of any business and definitely security. Go there today, mspce.com, and register now.
I don't want to go blind from diabetes.
I don't want to lose a foot or a leg.
I don't want to have kidney failure, so I'm taking control. I'm controlling my diabetes.
It's making a huge difference.
I'm eating healthy and staying physically active.
I'm taking my medicine.
If I can do it, anyone can.
Control your diabetes for life. Call 1-800-438-5383.
Body Armor USA, we've got what it takes to protect you. Whether you're looking for the top quality protective armor or protective clothing, stab-resistant vests or gloves, contact my friend Ben over at Body Armor USA. Give him a call, 516 area code 817-1666. Again, that's area code 516-817-1666. Body Armor USA, we've got what it takes to protect you. No doubt about it. Now hiring. Private Officer International, Armor College, and several other businesses that I and my partners own in the Mid-South are currently hiring. In Virginia, we're looking for a DCJS qualified firearms instructor and general instructor. We would like for that general instructor to have multiple categories on their registration. This is a part-time position currently, but it can quickly become full-time. If you're interested, please contact Carrie, C-A-R-R-I-E, at Armor, A-R-M-O-U-R, college.org. Also in Virginia, we're looking for private law enforcement officers full-time to patrol the greater Metro Richmond area and the greater Virginia Beach area, responding to complaints, alarm calls, patrolling businesses and residential communities. These are not security guards. You must be currently a registered conservator of the peace officer, or be eligible to obtain that certification through Armor College. If you're interested, please contact helpdesk at privateofficer.com. Again, this is a full-time, immediate position with benefits and a great opportunity. If you are someone who has some video production knowledge, you know how to put together some good-looking video, we're interested in talking to you on a part-time, as-needed basis. Contact us, helpdesk at privateofficer.com. In the Mobile, Greater Mobile, Baldwin County area in Alabama, we're currently looking for patrol officers there to patrol from 8 p.m. until 6 a.m. You'll be patrolling communities, amusement parks, marinas, businesses, responding to calls for service, disturbances, alarm response, and much more. This is a full-time, excellent pay, excellent benefits, and excellent opportunity. Again, just contact helpdesk at privateofficer.com for more information. And remember, if you're hiring, if you have a security business or any type of business, please let us know and we'll help you out. We have an all-inclusive marketing plan, helpdesk at privateofficer.com. We're also looking for Central Station monitors, which we will certify you to be a crime analyst for our brand new real-time crime center. This position is open both in Virginia and Alabama. Contact helpdesk at privateofficer.com for more information. Today, on a segment that we've been doing for a while now called The Good We Do, we want to recognize Security Officer Stephen Grabowski of Hartford, Connecticut, working at an office building downtown when suddenly a man had a heart attack in the lobby right there in front of him and others. According to the news release, Grabowski immediately began performing CPR while someone else rushed to get an AED. It was the efforts of Grabowski that saved the man's life. He was taken to Hartford Hospital. He recovered, and he's back home. We're going to be recognizing Officer Grabowski with a award, and we're going to try and get that done in person. Coming out of Fargo, North Dakota, Gavin Grismer, a security officer, has been recognized by the police department after he stopped a robbery at a jewelry store. The young man is known in the area for smiling and being helpful, but on this day, he jumped into action when someone tried to rob the jewelry store. The police chief, David Zabowski, honored Grismer with a citizen citation for distinguished service. They say that he didn't hesitate to put his life on the line. Suspect in custody. A 5-year-old choking at an elementary school was saved by a security officer and a nurse who just happened to be at the right place at the right time. It happened at the Riley Avenue Elementary School in Calverton, Long Island, New York. Both of them recognized the emergency and quickly took action when the kindergartner began choking on a chicken nugget. Now, the nurse happened to be there as a substitute, and she said she just happened to be walking into that area when it all happened. Both of them used the Heimlich maneuver, and they were able to quickly save that 5-year-old. Her condition now is great, but at that time they said it was worsening quickly, and it was the officers, the security officers' immediate recognition of what was happening and the assistance of that substitute nurse, Judy Marcus, that made the difference. Had they not been there at that time, who knows what might have happened. We're recognizing both of them with life-saving awards. A security officer in Oregon is being recognized for responding quickly to a shooting. The security officer did not hesitate. According to authorities, gunfire erupted. One man, 24 years old, was shot. The security officer responded and began to render aid before police and EMS arrived. His name not released, but we are searching for it and hope to be able to make contact with him very quickly. A security officer rescued a man from an RV fire. It was fully involved along I-90 in a homeless camp. According to the Spokane Fire Department in Washington, the observant security officer first saw smoke and then heavier smoke coming from that RV. He forced open the door, rescued the man who was asleep. The occupant and the security officer told firefighters that heavy fire quickly engulfed the occupant's head, rolling toward the rear of the trailer as they crawled out on the floor. Now, the man was all right. The RV was completely engulfed and a total loss. The name of the security officer, once again, omitted from the news story, but we have contacted the Spokane Fire Department PIO, and hopefully we'll have his name and be able to recognize him as well. We're recognizing a security officer who suddenly passed away. His name is Joseph Butler III. He worked at the Aberdeen Proving Ground in Maryland. They called him the face of the security guards because he was well known for his kindness, his courtesy, his humor, and his professionalism. He greeted everyone, didn't matter if he knew them or not, as a friend. He is Aberdeen Proving Ground, said APG Garrison Commander Colonel Johnny Casiano. Butler, a longtime security guard at Aberdeen Proving Ground, died April the 12th after battling an illness for several years. He was 67, and a memorial was held for him at the Aberdeen Proving Ground on May the 4th. We have previously honored this campus security officer, Miss Valerie Baxter. She was recently highlighted on the ABC News with David Muir. The security officer was saying goodbye and hugging all the faculty and friends after graduation at the High Point University in High Point, North Carolina this month. According to ABC's news story, she was aglow. Everyone calls her mom away from home. Everybody knows her. Everyone confides in her, and she is always there for everyone, faculty, visitors, and students alike. We honored her a number of years ago for quickly recovering a stolen bike after going above and beyond to work the case and finding that bike for someone who needed it because it was their only transportation. So once again, we're going to award Miss Valerie a huge, huge, huge award and gift, and we'll be able to do that in person in North Carolina, and we will be bringing video, and it'll be posted on our Facebook and other social media in the upcoming weeks. Now, that's what I call a true hero, somebody who's always going beyond, way above beyond the call, way above what's expected, and someone who gets a lot of respect in return. TSA has recently honored a canine handler for exceptional performance and leadership at the Las Vegas Harry Reid International Airport. Now, we have reached out to TSA, and we hope to be able to present him with an award as well. His name is Koa Paranganen, and I hope I pronounced that correctly, but he has been highlighted. He has been a canine handler since 2019. TSA says he goes above and beyond. He works hard with his canine and does an exceptional job. What more can you ask for? A New York school security officer has been honored with a Heroism Award in Lindenhurst, New York. The school security officer and former fire chief was recognized by the town of Babylon for his heroic actions involving a stabbing that occurred at the middle school. Michael DeGregoire was awarded the Heroism Award, the town's highest award, at a recent town board meeting. The security officer noticed an altercation on the second floor of the school. The retired fire chief and retired member of the NYPD said he noticed the student against the wall bleeding profusely from the right leg. Another teacher came to help render aid. Together, the security officer removed his belt to be used as a tourniquet to control the bleeding. With an injury as severe as this wound was, every second counted. That's why he's been awarded a Heroes Award. We also will be awarding him. We've contacted the school as well, and we hope to be able to make that presentation in person also. If you are an employee, a supervisor, or manager, please let us know if you have an employee who needs to be recognized. It's as easy as just sending a quick email to helpdesk@privateofficer.com. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, so much more to talk about, breaking news, and how the security and law enforcement is changing roles, kind of. Police being more reactive because of a lack of patrol officers, and private security being more reactive and proactive and using technology, both private security and police continuing to up their game through technology, and we'll have a trilogy for the next 3 weeks talking about this very thing. You're listening to the voice of the Frontline Protector on the Private Officer Beat Radio. Are you a recently retired or maybe active law enforcement officer looking for a different future, maybe owning your own business, former military, public safety, private security professional, EMS, or the fire service, looking for a new way to make a difference while running and owning your own business? At Public Safety Services, we provide services to those who protect us around the world. I'm talking about the police, the sheriff's department, the military. Our organization provides community service officers, private law enforcement, prisoner transport, traffic investigators, and many other public safety service related services to law enforcement agencies across the nation. You can own your own business, be in business for yourself, but not by yourself. Contact us at publicsafetyservices.org. Let's talk about how you can make a difference today while owning your own business.
If the water is flowing and the low water crossing, turn around, turn around. Don't risk your life, don't do it. You might not make it through it. Turn around, turn around. Might take a little time, but heed the warning signs and turn around, turn around, turn around, and don't drown.
Distracted driving is dangerous, but some people just can't seem to help themselves. There's the steering wheel propper, the sneak-a-peeker, the fast roller, the night lighter. And it's not long until they become the fender benderer, the got-a-ticketer, the veering off the road, the driver who kills someone. Enough with the phones already. Just put them down.
Taking a look at all of the breaking news this morning, coming out of Scottsdale, Arizona, a security officer is in critical condition and a suspect is in custody after he stabbed that security officer multiple times at a business called the Scottsdale Quarter. The man refused to leave the property. The security officer tried to detain him. According to police, when they arrived, they found the security officer on the ground suffering multiple injuries, possible broken hip. Police were able to locate the suspect, identified as 38-year-old Marco Antonio Aguila, and took him into custody. Federal authorities have arrested a man for threatening a federal courthouse security officer. This occurred in Texarkana, Arkansas. David Earl Kemp, 59, is in federal custody after creating a disturbance inside the courthouse. According to authorities, court security tried to escort him out. The man had a rifle cartridge and some other ammunition. They also found that he had attempted to purchase a 12-gauge shotgun and was going to bring it to the court. Federal authorities still have him in custody. Happening just within the last 3 days, Texas lawmakers have okayed the arming of school security personnel in every school in the state, investing $330 million to beef up school security. Many of those schools already had unarmed security, but Governor Greg Abbott signed the bill saying every school in the state shall now have an armed security officer. A casino in Pennsylvania, and this is one that I haven't heard of in quite a while. A casino in Pennsylvania, York, Pennsylvania, has been fined for failing to meet security requirements. According to the news release, the casino, which is owned by the Mountain View Thoroughbred Racing Association, LLC, pledged to have minimum security at the casino. But according to the Pennsylvania National Gaming Commission, they failed to do so and oftentimes had little to no security. They were fined $78,000. I sure wish that would happen at more businesses. A man has been killed, a security officer injured in a double shooting. This happened in Rochester, New York over the weekend at a bar. Authorities rushed, they said, to a bar fight at Flower City Station at the corner of East Avenue and Sicko Street. Officers and civilians tried to save the man's life after he was shot in the upper body, but he did end up dying. Security officers were injured and shot during this confrontation. A suspect in 2021 Walmart security officer stabbing has been acquitted and set free. This happened at the Campbell River store. According to the wife of the Walmart security officer who was stabbed by a shoplifter 2 years ago, they are beside themselves and dismayed that the man is out of jail, let free, even though it was obvious that he did stab the security officer. He was also charged with assaulting a police officer during another robbery 3 days after the stabbing. The wife, who spoke on behalf of her husband, said, "We are not sure what to do next, but we may have to take Walmart to court." A Texas strip club security officer fatally shot a man who wounded 3 others during a confrontation in Fort Worth. Police responding to the Temptations Cabaret, which has been the scene of a number of other shootings, including fatal shootings. This weekend, Fort Worth police and the Tarrant County Sheriff's Office responded, finding 3 people shot. The security officer on duty returned fire and shot and killed the man. 2 San Francisco women have been arrested after stealing more than $50,000 of sunglasses from the Sunglass Hut. Authorities say security and investigators were able to team up and track down the 2 suspects. Both of them were taken into custody, one in San Francisco. Across the country, we're seeing a number of school systems that got rid of SROs and security during the George Floyd protest, now begging companies and police to come back. A number of police departments and sheriff's departments say no. They're citing the fact that they don't have enough staff, that they're using them on the road. Private security companies are being called in to man those posts at the schools, and I'm sure that we'll see many other schools continue hiring security. A suspect fatally shot by police outside of a Home Depot in Burbank, California. The man was shot and killed by officers responding to the store Saturday afternoon in the 1200 block of Flower Street. Police said that he had a gun and threatened to shoot customers. The suspect's description was provided to police. When they arrived, a confrontation ensued, and police fatally shot the man. A Dartmouth College student, a football player at the school, has now been charged with a Colorado Springs armored truck robbery. It seems that when he went on spring break back to Colorado Springs, he and 3 of his buddies committed an armed robbery of an armored truck. Amar Braxton, 19, a sophomore at the Dartmouth College, has been arrested and charged with armed robbery, aggravated robbery, theft, and menacing. No word as to whether or not he's still in custody or if he's been released on bond. An Ohio man has been charged and found guilty in the stabbing of a security officer. Gregory Jordan, 40, was found guilty of second-degree assault, a Class D felony, but was acquitted of a second-degree attempted murder charge, also a felony. He will be sentenced later this year. A security officer was shot at an apartment complex just north of Miami, in Miami-Dade. No word on his condition, and there's no word as to whether or not a suspect has been apprehended. Banco Brown, the trans person who was shot and killed by a contract security officer in San Francisco at the Walgreens, well, his family now is suing for wrongful death, $25 million. Michael Earl Wayne Anthony, the security officer, has not been charged in the shooting, but that security company was fired, even though the district attorney did not prosecute. Now the family wants money. Authorities in Waller County, Texas, found a deceased constable in his patrol car over the weekend. Authorities say that they found the constable deceased. They are investigating this as a possible homicide, but it could also be a suicide. They just don't know. And they say that the identity of the deputy who worked for Waller County Precinct 3, Constable Herschel Smith, has not been released as of yet. A security officer and a patient at a hospital in Wisconsin were injured during a struggle. Dustin Lutz, 36, has been charged with that felony count of bodily harm to a worker in a healthcare facility after he got into a confrontation with a hospital security officer and made threats to kill people and the security officer if he went to jail. Police arrived and they were able to take him into custody. Across the country, assaults of security officers are on the rise. Murders of security officers are on the rise. And this is one of those. In Phoenix, Arizona, Nixon Pettit, a 50-year-old security officer at the Montana Hookah Lounge, was killed early Saturday morning. A confrontation inside the business. Security tried to remove the men. One of them had a gun and fired upon him. According to police, the 50-year-old security officer was found on the sidewalk. Customers and employees say that the security officer, Nixon Pettit, tried to defuse and de-escalate the situation, but the suspect remained argumentative, aggressive, and hostile, according to witnesses. A tip has led to the arrest of 27-year-old Justin Damunga, who ultimately was arrested in North Tucson. The 27-year-old is being held on a $1 million cash-only bond, facing 2 felony charges of second-degree murder and possession of a weapon by a prohibited person. A New Britain man in Connecticut arrested for threatening to shoot a Meriden Mall security officer. Police responding arrested Gene Eppenchild, 65, after he threatened to get a gun and shoot security and to find a bomb. he has been taken into custody, and he was released after posting a $10,000 bond. In Anchorage, Alaska, we don't get a lot of stories out of Alaska. We do see some, but this is one of those situations where the security officer might have used poor judgment. The security officer in Anchorage was arrested after a rock-throwing incident. The 34-year-old person working security at a convenience store said the man came in, caused a disturbance. He told him to leave. The man finally left the property, but then walked back onto the property and began throwing rocks at the security officer, but it doesn't say that he was throwing large rocks, just rocks. And after one of the rocks hit the security officer in the mouth, he pulled his firearm and shot the man. He's now charged in that shooting. The victim is in critical condition currently. The security officer said he would have used a taser if he had one, but he couldn't afford one. His company didn't issue one, so he only has a gun. A man in Atlanta arrested after this scam. He got a bunch of vehicle boots, and while truckers slept in the parking lot in their trucks, he booted the trucks and demanded upwards of $750 to release each boot. After doing this for about 24 hours and making quite a bit of money, truckers began calling police, and police found the suspect asleep in his vehicle. According to police, they were able to arrest Tradil Israel and charged him with felony theft. Remember, you can read all of our breaking news at privateofficerbreakingnews.blogspot.com. Join us in the conversation at facebook.com/Private Officer International, and of course on Twitter at twitter.com/Private Officer. We'll be right back. We're talking about police and security, how they've had to rewrite the book on how they deliver service, how they provide service to the citizens and clients and customers. And we will continue to see that escalation of the change. What we thought was the duties and the jobs of private security won't be. It'll be something totally different. The police are becoming more reactive instead of proactive, and private security is being asked to be more proactive and less reactive. You're listening to the voice of the frontline protector here on the Private Officer Beat Radio. We'll be right back.
There was the explosion, and I remember just opening my eyes, and it got both of my legs. I had surgery after surgery, and what's going to happen next? The Wounded Warrior Project said, look, brother, everything's going to be okay. 3 months from now, 4 months from now, a year from now, you'll be fine. I don't know if I would be as well adjusted as I am now if it wasn't for them.
To learn more, call 1-877-832-6997 or visit woundedwarriorproject.org.
Can we be real for a minute? I'm a high school math teacher, and I'm a firefighter.
Man, we're going to have you out in just a minute, okay?
I'm a designer.
I'm a retired VP in business.
And I'm a student.
I'm a mother.
I'm a business analyst, and I'm a volunteer firefighter.
You thought we just fought fire?
Firefighters get trained to do so many things.
Right here. Get sharp. What we do is serious business. 3
3/4 of the nation's first responders are volunteers. That includes here in Connecticut. And lately, it's been harder than ever, with fewer citizens volunteering.
From teenage cadets like me
to seasoned veterans like me.
So what are you waiting for?
You ready to make a difference?
Ready to join our team?
Your community needs you. We need you. Visit everydayheroct.org or stop by your local firehouse today and take the first step of joining your fire department.
The Industrial Revolution. It was a transition from creating goods by hand to using machines, and it wasn't something that everyone was happy about. Because when you create something by hand, it's really more artisan. It's really more special. I know personally when I receive a gift that someone's made by hand, it means a lot more to me than if they went out to Walmart or bought something offline. It's just special. But the Industrial Revolution had to happen as the population continued to grow, as our world as we knew it began to expand, as times continued to change. Automation was a had to be. It wasn't something that was just, well, we don't really need it, but let's use it anyways. No, it actually was something that had to evolve the way things were made in our country. And it actually started a debate by everyone and their brother, including scholars. They said yay and others said nay. But the period generally spanned from 1760 to 1840. The Industrial Revolution was not just here in the U.S., but it was a global transition of human economy. It made things more efficient. It made things more faster. And it stabilized what we could produce and manufacture. And it also helped not only hard goods, things like furniture, but clothing items, as well as agriculture. It revolutionized how we grew food and how we fed ourselves. First beginning in Great Britain and continental Europe and the U.S., and then it spread even further worldwide. Now, what in the world does that Industrial Revolution have to do with private security and law enforcement? And it's really quite simple. The bottom line in today's world is how fast can we do it? How cheap can we do it? Do we have enough people to provide the labor, or do we have to manufacture everything by machine with robots? It's been a number of years now since we've entered into the technology and robotic phase of securing the properties and answering calls and patrolling. Yeah, you can laugh. You can joke. You can snicker. True. Technology isn't a welcome sight for many people who make their living in private security. But in recent years, law enforcement themselves have had to understand that we just don't have enough people who are willing to do the job. I myself was dismayed and really unhappy when much of our manufacturing went overseas. I grew up in New England. Manufacturing was the source of most jobs for our community, making everything from toasters to cars to tires. It gave people a secure job with a secure income, benefits, and something that everyone back then wanted, and that was retirement benefits. But when things began to be automated, when manufacturers were unable to keep up with the demands of people's salaries. With the unions, they kind of were their own worst enemies sometimes, and have forced labor to go elsewhere, out of the country. And thank goodness in recent years, some companies have brought that back. In North Carolina, they used to be the king of furniture manufacturing, and some of it went overseas, and after about 10 years, they realized the quality wasn't the same. No matter how hard they tried to train those companies over there, those employees, they just weren't the craftsmen. And many of these furniture makers have brought manufacturing and furniture making back to North Carolina. And we're seeing this across the board. I just read an article this past weekend, another company in Virginia that made products at several other countries brought it all back in-house. But that doesn't mean everything is going to be handcrafted as it was in the early 1800s, early 1900s. Unfortunately, manufacturing and even agriculture has had to take on technology, robotics, and it's just how things are. Police are using robots in some areas to patrol downtown areas and other patrol beats that once back maybe 50 years ago was patrolled by a live person. Does that mean it's the end to police as we know it? Kind of, yeah. Police are using technology. We've talked in recent episodes about the Real-Time Crime Center and how many police departments have gone to a huge surveillance center where they are using surveillance to keep an eye on their downtown business areas, tourist areas, parts of the city that has a higher rate of crime than other parts. They're using license plate readers, AI, facial recognition, gunshot spotters. All of this we have put together in a new business that we've introduced you to recently, Unified Real-Time Crime Center, and we'll be talking more about that in the upcoming weeks. But automation and technology has to be part of policing and securing our communities and our private properties, and without it, things are going to go downhill. Let's face it. If you own a private security company or you manage a private security company, you already know you cannot get enough staff through the doors. No matter how many ads you run, no matter how many times you increase the wages, no matter how much you try to make this very appealing to applicants, it's not working. How Allied Universal can keep enough people in all of their global operations, I don't know. Walmart, the same. How do they keep enough people in the store? I have news for you. They don't. They recently admitted that many of their stores they have minimal floor staff, minimal stockers. And even they have used robotic means and are looking at other technology to speed things up. That's why they put those self-checking stations in the front, to alleviate the need for having 10, 15, 20 cashiers on the front line. Well, now they realize, this has helped to increase our shrinkage, our loss. People are stealing through those front line self-check registers, not just at Walmart, but other stores as well. And now they're using AI technology to detect whether or not you're paying for everything that you're scanning or not scanning through. And some stores have even put up gates where they're almost like a cattle gate, where they're funneling everyone through a gate from the point of sales to the exit door where security's waiting. We'll be talking more about that in the next LP zone, the Loss Prevention Zone, so be sure to be listening for that. But the point here is humans, we just don't have enough humans that want to be police officers. We just don't have enough humans that want to be security officers. I recently was introduced with a new robot technology. This came from a different country, but they had been a physical security company, but they couldn't get enough people through the door to staff all their accounts. So they began using some robots to patrol. Of course, robots are monitored. They're not, autonomous. They're not out there on their own. They're being controlled by somebody behind the camera. They're being, monitored. They're sending live feedback to a dispatch center or an operator where they're able to see everything that's happening and call police if they do find something out of the ordinary. But I was watching the video, and he said, I just couldn't get enough people in the door, so we made a robot that could climb up hills and go down into shallow water and go this way and that way. And one of the best I've seen actually on the market because it's so useful in different environments. And he said, it's not meant to take over for humans, but it's an additive. It's an additive. And that's what we're all looking for. We're looking for a better mousetrap, a better way to do the job. And unfortunately, we have to add technology. In recent weeks, I've talked about the great value of electronic security, having surveillance, having alarm systems, being able to monitor from afar and then respond when that alarm activates or when the dispatch sees somebody on the camera who's trespassing or who looks like they're up to no good, being able to dispatch that mobile patrol unit. And that's what police are doing with the RTCCs, the real-time crime centers. The industrial evolution was just the beginning of technology in our world. And policing and security has to continue to evolve. Even if we had plenty of physical security personnel, technology is still going to be the key to be much more effective and responsive to things that are happening. And I'll give you an example. You have a security officer at the front gate of an apartment complex that might have 2,000 people living inside that property. You might have 400 apartment units. It's not uncommon these days to have apartment complexes that have 3,000 to 5,000 people living on the property. I've had a few of those under contract. We've had to have 3 to 5 security officers around the clock in order to just control access and to respond to the calls. So it would behoove us to have some type of technology, whether that be cameras spread throughout the property that we're able to monitor in real time, or maybe some robots patrolling certain areas like parking lots. Technology is our friend, really. It's not the enemy. You might say, well, it's taking away the jobs of the... No, it's not, because people are not applying for those jobs. If it were, I'd say, forget that technology. Forget all of that. Leave that behind. Let's hire real people. Will it come down to the point where everything is all robots and cameras? No, I don't think so. We'll always need humans, obviously. But when you couple all of the technology together, along with well-qualified personnel, whether that be security or law enforcement, look at what's happening just in recent years. Have you ever seen the inside of a patrol car in recent years? They have video. They have computers. They have access to the internet. They have technology. Some patrol cars are equipped with sensors. It notifies the driver when someone is nearby walking past their camera. Some police cars have cameras, just like a Tesla, on the side, the front, and the back. Motion sensors so that police are safer. It notifies them if they're parked in the parking lot that someone's coming around the vehicle. Technology is not the enemy. We have to be willing, ready, capable of having technology and physical security unite. It's just going to really provide a better service to our customers, our clients, keep our officers safer, and also continue to evolve the private security industry. The problem is people are negative. People want to be negative about everything. They don't want to think about the positives. They are more quicker to talk about the negatives. In part 2, we're going to show you how police and security have been using technology in recent years to benefit everyone involved. If you're still thinking guards are the way to go, yeah, you might have some clients, some contracts if you're a business owner, but you are limiting yourself. It's just like security companies who only offer unarmed security. They don't want to think about armed, too much liability. Well, good trained people, quality people, quality supervision, quality equipment, quality, overwatch, making sure that you're on top of them, that you're supervising them, that you're making sure that they get trained in the right time, whether it be every 6 months, once a year, once a month. I mean, we're responsible for us. We're responsible for our staff. We're responsible for what people think about us. The evolution of policing and security is here. Get on board, or you might get left behind. On part 2, we're going to talk about equipment, about technology, how it's being used by both law enforcement and security, and why you, whether a security officer or business owner, need to examine the benefits instead of the negatives. Thanks for being with us this week on the Private Officer Beat Radio. Until the next time, I hope that you all stay blessed, be safe. We'll see you back here on the radio.